In what would be the biggest sleight of hand smokescreen of all time, could Sean Payton and George Payton actually be planning on bringing Tom Brady to Denver next year to be the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos? I had a whole mock draft episode planned, and I had some rankings to break down, and then I read a report from Mike Florio that made me drop all of that. We'll go over some of that mock draft stuff tomorrow, but we have to dive into the report that Mike Florio put out, and really just like how crazy would this be for Denver to land Tom Brady at 47 here next year to be our quarterback. So let's dive in. So it all goes back to the league meeting when Zach Stevens reported, and I watched the whole video where Sean Payton was asked about the quarterback position and said, like, it doesn't have to be a guy in the draft. There's still free agents available, or relative to dudes who have played in the league, guys who are currently in this league or have played in this league. And that line of have played in this league, like, rung with a lot of people, and they're thinking, like, Andrew Luck maybe, or could that be Cam Newton? Who could that be? Well, could that actually be Tom Brady? Then a few days later, Tom Brady hops on a podcast and they asked him, hey, if San Francisco makes a playoff run or a team's on the verge of the playoffs and they lose a quarterback, would you be opposed to coming back? And he said, no, I wouldn't be opposed to it. And he was set to buy a partial ownership in the Raiders organization, the Las Vegas Raiders, and that has not gone through, and everyone thought that was really weird. And all of that led people to think maybe he is keeping his foot in the door so that he doesn't have to be locked into that 10-year contract to be a reporter for Fox and be flying all over the country and leaving his family and just sitting in a booth, whether it's a close game or an absolute blowout. Like when you've been a star quarterback, being locked into something for 10 years, we've seen Al Michaels when a game is a blowout and you just see how bored he is. And I think Tom Brady might be seeing that and saying, like, hey, could I have a way out? And so then Troy Rank had a really cool article that was very, very well written. Troy Rank kills it. I love the first line of it. It was like ground control to Major Tom, and it was just a great article, but it all felt like kind of a little bit foolish until Mike Florio came out and said that Tom Brady does want to come back, and that the teams that might be in play would be the Denver Broncos, the Vikings, and the Commanders. And so, whether or not those teams actually want Tom Brady is probably what this all comes down to. Florio also had just this great article here, but this is the one talking about the fact that these are the teams he would actually want to go to. And then kind of he talked about really like how bummed he truly was to be locked into that 10-year deal. It's mega money. But if you've been a starting quarterback your entire life and you're used to doing meaningful stuff all the time, having to fly to different cities and be in games when they're blowouts or, calling games when you've been the man, that is a huge step down. And we know that he left the game probably to try to save his marriage, which then ended up not working out. And so he wants to be back in the game. We see he tweets out this video of him running shirtless, and dude just looks absolutely yoked. We know he and Sean Payton already had a plan to unite and play together. So could all of this stuff that Sean Payton, I won't just let Brady run shirtless on your screen while I talk, or should I? I guess I'll switch it. All of this stuff about Tom Brady, we can't play at 47. He still has the physical tools. He's actually faster than he was when he came out of Michigan in the draft. He's talked about how he could throw a ball forever for the rest of his life. He never lost that ability. And so much of the quarterback position is about what's between your ears. It's your brain, your ability to see those underneath routes. And the thing that drove me nuts about playing the Patriots was it never was like losing to Patrick Mahomes, where you're like, oh, how are we supposed to stop a left, rolling out to your left and throwing off your back foot? Like, we played that perfectly. Or when he threw that left-handed pass against Von Miller, it felt impossible to stop. But the thing with Tom Brady was he was winning on checkdowns and dump-offs, and the ball always went to the open dude because he was smart. And I think we've all probably played open gym basketball where there's that guy who's so old, but he knows the game and he can ball out of control. And I would say it's probably more impressive that LeBron James is going to probably play in the NBA with his son at 40 years old next year, or 41. Like, he hasn't slowed down at all. He's got the Lakers into the playoff against our Denver Nuggets. And I would say that that's more impressive because that's a game that relies on athleticism at every position, where quarterback, it truly does not. Like, we saw Ben Roethlisberger play forever, and he was hardly an athlete. You even see pictures of Mahomes with his shirt off, and he doesn't look like a stud athlete. So I just do not think it is that crazy. And this would be the ultimate chess move for Sean Payton and George Payton. That is all this talk about a quarterback in the first round, is all that talk trying to get other GMs thinking that we want a quarterback so that they try to jump in front of us, so that the Denver Broncos land probably the fifth most talented player in the whole draft in the Georgia tight end, Brock Bowers, who a lot of people are saying is like a mini Gronkowski. So could the Denver Broncos truly make a run at Tom Brady? At 47, I know that seems absolutely absurd, but we know Tom Brady takes deals that favor the team. He has aspirations of entrepreneurialism, and so being in with the Walton Penner family, like one of the richest families in the entire United States, that is a plus as well. And so I really just do not think it is that insane. And I think watching Sean Payton and George Payton's pre-draft press conference the other day, there was like a laid backness and a chill like vibe to it that made me feel like they knew something that we didn't. Like, either they have their quarterback pegged in this draft and they're going to be able to get him in the third round and everyone's sleeping on him, or it truly is Tom Brady and they just have this inner confidence. And tell me if this is absolutely bogus. Someone in the comments the other day was saying, like, why are you hyping Brady? He's my least favorite quarterback of all time. And I agree. I could not stand Tom Brady when he was with the New England Patriots because he got the best of us so many times. But the other quarterback who I could not stand before he was a Denver Bronco was Peyton Manning. Like, I remember that wild card game when we had Plummer, and I thought, oh, this team is going to get us back to the Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning just mollywopped us. And I remember every single one of his commercials, I would turn the TV off. Remember, he was in those commercials like, cut that meat. I didn't even watch the SNL he hosted because I could not stand Peyton Manning because he was so good and I hated playing against him. And the second we got him, I bought his jersey. I was over the moon excited, and truly, although it didn't pan out for us, I felt the same thing about Russell Wilson. When he beat us in that Super Bowl, I couldn't stand him. I did not like him whatsoever. And the second we signed him, I flipped on a dime, and I would do the same for Tom Brady. If he goes to the Vikings, man, I'm not going to like him if he goes anywhere. But if he was a Denver Bronco and that bridge quarterback, I think that would be unreal. And I think the other thing that makes me kind of just feel a little bit like, is this truly the plan? Was just hearing how they responded to the Cortland Sutton not showing up for workout. There was a laid backness to that interaction when they said, hey, why isn't Cortland Sutton here? They both were like, yeah, we've talked to him. He's in a good place. We're not worried about it. And so is there something we just do not know that's happening? And could that something we don't know is happening be Tom Brady perhaps coming to the Denver Broncos? How would you all feel about that? I think if you gave me the choice of reaching for a quarterback and getting another Paxton Lynch or getting another Drew Lock, or really having a 36% chance at making it, or having Tom Brady and then getting a generational talent at tight end, that's exciting to me. Like, there is no way. I've talked about multiple times on this channel that I do not think the Denver Broncos are that much worse than last year. Cushenberry at center is the only position you really can say we lost and haven't replaced with at least like a younger person who's in the same conversation. And so all of a sudden, if you put Tom Brady, we were almost in the playoffs last year. If we can figure out how to beat the Patriots on the nightmare before Christmas Eve, we're in the playoffs. And you can't, if we have Tom Brady here next year, we will make the playoffs. We have a squad that can. Obviously, this all could be just like internet, different people aggregating stuff and maybe there's nothing to it. But when Mike Florio says it and says that it's a possibility, that really makes you think. The fact that Sean Payton and him already had plans to join forces, that's just down the road a little bit. At 47, obviously, it's not a huge risk. If we pick at 12 a generational talent, we get the best player on the board at 12, and we have Tom Brady. We got to be excited for that. So let me know what you think in the chat. I could be completely off on this, but Broncos country, we're just 4 days away. I guess 4 work days, but we are so close to that. Can't wait to watch the live draft right here with all y'all in Broncos country. And until then, giddy up.